G'day viewers, Retro Man here. Today it's all about Top Gun Maverick, this spectacular sequel. I will be giving you my take, my reaction to watching it for the very first time. Stay tuned for more.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man. On tonight's show, Retro Man reviews Top Gun Maverick starring Tom Cruise. Well, what are we waiting for? Lights, camera, Retro Man!
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today I'll be talking about the 2022 sequel, Top Gun Maverick. Now I have the 4K here, and guys, I'm one of the few people in the world that has yet to see this film until last night. I mean, this film has grossed over $1 billion and I didn't get to see it in the cinema, so I splashed out and watched it on 4K, and I tell you what, this is a very satisfying sequel. This is a solid film, and I've got a lot to say about it. Now let's start with Tom Cruise. I mean, this is a sequel 30 or so years on. And this guy, I tell you what, has not aged a bit. He's still in top shape, in top form, and he puts in a solid performance in this film. There's a lot of depth to his performance, and it's very emotional at times.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Now, the setup for this film is basically Tom Cruise is still this brash pilot, that he's working on a Dark Star program with this hypersonic aircraft. And what happens, guys, is they kind of want to scrap Maverick's program, so he goes up into the skies with the prototype aircraft and shows them really what he can do. And amazingly, it's just a wonderful sequence that the film kicks off with, and it ends with a big laugh too. I mean, Maverick, I'm sure people have seen it, so it's not really much of a spoiler, but he actually destroys the prototype aircraft, and it's all over for Maverick, and there's a great laugh to be had. But what happens in this film, the story of this film, is essentially Maverick becoming a teacher. He's confronting, yes, elements of the past and what happened in the 86 film, but he's now gone back to Top Gun school after, his mishap with this prototype aircraft, and he's back there playing the role of teacher, which is not something that Maverick has done before. I mean, he kind of relies on instincts, doesn't he? He just gets out there and goes for it and makes a decision on the fly. And he's playing the role of teacher to an elite group of Top Gun students, and one of them just happens to be the son of Goose, his deceased best friend from the 1986 film. Now this guy, his name is Rooster, and he's played by Miles Teller, who was in that fabulous film a few years back called Whiplash. Anyway, guys, Tom Cruise has a brand new love interest in this film, and she's played by Jennifer Connelly. That's right, she was a bit of an 80s darling, wasn't she? And to spice up the flavour, they've injected her into this. I mean, there's no more Kelly McGillis in this one, and I tell you what, this is a great sequel from a technical aspect, and it's really solid, it's emotional, and there's a lot of depth here, and there's a lot of danger as the plot thickens. But I'll just say this, where it does fall short a little bit is in the romance department. I think Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly make a nice couple, but they just don't have that spark and passion of Cruise and McGillis in that first film. I mean, that was a really hot and heavy relationship. It really sort of just, oh man, the passion on the screen. And if you couple that with Take My Breath Away by Berlin, which they did back in 86, now that soared, that romance. It took it to new heights. And this film, the romance is kind of lukewarm, I would say, but the two actors do share a bit of chemistry, but it's kind of a convenient romance. I mean, these two have been there before, and guys, it doesn't have that sizzle of the first romance. So as a film, this is pretty solid stuff. But with that little bit of the romance going on, yeah, it dips down a little bit compared to the first one. Now, let's get into the real premise of this. I mean, there's a death-defying mission that Tom Cruise and the guys are about to embark on. This is why he has to whip them into shape, give them that little bit of Maverick X factor, and there's some sort of unsanctioned uranium plant in a canyon somewhere, and these guys have to get in there and destroy it. And that's what it's all about, him whipping these young guys into shape. He does a heck of a job, and along the way, like I said, this is a very emotional film. And I mean, they bring back Iceman, Val Kilmer, in a very touching way. I mean, there's some camaraderie between him and Tom, and it's really well done. I mean, they were rivals in '86, and as time has gone on, they've developed a respect for one another, and their shared little moment in this is so touchingly executed. And I think that gives this film a lot of heart and a lot of class as well. So this is a solid sequel, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, the technical wizardry of this film is just amazing. I mean, all of the actors went up there in the planes, and I tell you what, the flying sequences are absolutely second to none. Now, people have tried to label this thing as the greatest film ever made. Well, I don't think it's the greatest film ever made. They've also labelled it the best action movie ever made. Well, it's certainly not that. But I will give it a label myself, and I will say that it's one of the best sequels ever made. This is a very solid, very entertaining sequel. There's a lot of fan service here. I mean, right at the start, we get that Top Gun anthem. We get Cruise putting on the jacket, and we get Danger Zone, of course. And I mean, there's a lot of fan service. There's a lot of throwbacks to '86. And there's a lot of fresh, inventive, new things that keeps the new story flowing. So it's packed with emotion. It's a great sequel. It's not the best film you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's just a really, really fantastic sequel. And if you like the '86 film, you're going to enjoy this. It's a solid watch, and I mean, the 4K simply pops off the screen. My only regret really is that I didn't see this in the theatres. So this is a fantastic film. The shortcoming is the romance. We kind of all knew that the romance wouldn't sizzle like that one with Cruise and McGillis. It's just kind of convenient and there, him and Connolly. But besides for the romance, I mean, this film has some stunning flying sequences. And that's what we want to see when it comes to a Top Gun film. And in that regard, it delivers. So anyway, guys, that's my take on Top Gun Maverick. Stay tuned for more on the '80s show. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And keep watching, guys, because I have lots more coming your way. In the meantime, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as exciting as an aerial dogfight. Please subscribe and good night, viewers.